David, we have news this morning for Supermicro, which has been a company that is directly involved with NVIDIA. They don't seem to know how fast things are going. Everything is just moving so quickly, and their companies, Supermicro, by the way, the CFO is out, and that's very positive.
Yes, we should mention Supermicro has also completed that review by an independent special committee, interestingly, aided by the forensic accounting firm Secretariat Advisors. Who knew?
I didn't
that we'd
know.
be talking about the great horse, and there it would be once again.
Well, they better be really quick, because when you do one of those independents, David, they don't like that.
No evidence of misconduct on the part of management or the board of directors.
There we go. Good.
And that the audit committee acted independently. No restatement of reported financials expected. Those are the headlines from this release from Supermicro that is out just a few moments ago. There's a lot more here, guys, that we need to go through in terms of specifics that they address. Of course, much of this, not all of it, began when their longtime accountant, Ernst & Young, resigned and said it couldn't support the financials as they were reported at the time. Stock plummeted.
But Greenberg points out the special committee is one person.
Yeah, I was going to say that the farce of the special committee is what you got to focus on. Now, having unfortunately been involved in some of these situations with the special committee, government does not like self-exoneration. You know, the SEC will call you and say, oh, really? Really? Your special committee? Are they made up of hacks? Are they made up of Joe? Or they might just send a release out which just says there is no special committee. Because the government does not like self-exoneration. The government likes to investigate itself. They like a little secretariat get inside here.
They do. They do.
No, I think this is quite a day because you're going to see winners win. What a cliche. Winners win. But NVIDIA was down $2 this morning on story out of Commerce that somehow they were going to be involved, and they do have good China business of a kind of a, you know, you put a governor on a electric bike, you can't go fast. They have a governor on the latest NVIDIA chip, and they were selling that well in China, so maybe that somewhat. But the fact is that you just keep distancing yourself from the crowd if you're NVIDIA. And I still think, and you're going to have Ben Regis on this morning, right?
Yes.
I think he's going to speak very positively about NVIDIA. He has been the other guy. What? What's so funny?
It is funny to your guys' point about special micro. When you read about a special committee, typically you think a committee is people. But in this case, it's Susie Giordano.
How about AI? Was there an Gentix?
I don't know if she was assisted by AI, but the special committee is comprised of Susie Giordano. She's an independent member of the board of directors of Supermicro, an experienced attorney. She joined the board in August, this last August, to lead the special committee's efforts to review the matters outlined above. Perfect. Independent from any existing directors. So, yes, the special committee was one person. That said, again, I would refer people to a press release I'm still going through, and I'm sure others are. They do note lapses, including ensuring guardrails were always in place and observed, because the company's chief financial officer had primary responsibility for the process of rehiring certain employees. He had a responsibility for process lapses. Guys, it goes on from there. I'm not going to go through it all right now, but you can see the rebound that's taken place in Supermicro shares. By the way, this has been going on for some time after the plummet that took place when Ernst & Young said, we're out of here.
Brace yourselves, investors and tech enthusiasts alike, for an electrifying piece of news that could send ripples through the entire stock market. At the center of all the buzz is none other than Nvidia Corp. Similar to a magician pulling rabbits out of hats, Nvidia is once again poised to captivate the market with a potentially seismic announcement. Rumors are swirling around CEO Jensen Huang's upcoming keynote address, promising a spellbinding glimpse into the future of AI and GPU technology. What exactly will he unveil? That remains a closely guarded secret, fueling a sense of anticipation and excitement reminiscent of a cliffhanger in a best-selling novel. The whispers surrounding this event have reached a fever pitch, with speculations as varied as the advancements in AI, applications to groundbreaking improvements in their processing capabilities. Major players like Citi have positioned Nvidia on their positive catalyst watch, forecasting an impressive surge in stock value. This isn't just any rise in stock price, it's poised to climb by an impressive 200%. As the day of the announcement draws closer, the tension is palpable, with the potential of shifting paradigms in tech innovation and redefining market dynamics. Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
Well, I mean, there's also been the interlocking people on this board and relatives on the board and all the deals that have been made are just ridiculous. And I think that this is not necessarily going to be the end of the situation. I think that needs a further house cleaning. Look, I'm not saying it's going to be a special committee here, but when Ernst & Young resigned, that's not been cured. I mean, they did bring in another, they brought in with BDM, but I think that it's a longer-term thing. It's like, it's not done.
Right.
It's not done.
Special committee, as in Susie Giordano, did not see any evidence suggesting anyone at the company tried to circumvent export control regulations or restrictions.
Which, of course, was never in doubt. I mean, that was like a canard.
Was aware that
was never the issue.
Might be diverted to a prohibited end-use or location. That's one part from here as well. They are getting a new CFO, as we said, appointing a chief accounting officer, appointing a chief compliance officer, appointing a general counsel, expanding the legal department. These are all measures recommended by the special committee.
Well, that's positive.
Or I should say, Susie Giordano. Well, the special what do you call a committee?
Committee of one person. Committee of one.
Thank you.
We've seen that's a CBS show, along with Fire Country. Committee of one. Do you see that? Committee of one. They take the Mangold's fire.
You're holding a meeting of the special committee. You go into special chambers.
No, that's tracker.
That's tracker. You want. Yep. Although, do you have to do it in a special location as a special committee? And you talk to yourself during this.
Well, I'm telling you.
And you say, Susie.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? And
Tigress.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it was a robust discussion.
Yeah, well, Agentix was. They have to bring Agentix. Agentix is neutral.
The air around Nvidia is undeniably buzzing, and for good reason. News has it that the chip giant is gearing up for CES 2025, and anticipation couldn't be higher. As some analysts put it, Jensen Huang's keynote is the kind of event that has investors marking their calendars and tech enthusiasts holding their breath. This isn't merely another industry event, it's shaping up to be a landmark in technological exposition. Of course, the rumor mill is in overdrive, feeding on speculations that range from next-gen GPU releases to cutting-edge AI-driven robotics solutions aimed at revolutionizing sectors like warehouses and manufacturing. If you're betting on gaming GPUs, this entire scenario might feel like someone just unlocked a cheat code. However, instead of unlocking extra lives, they're unlocking a treasure trove of opportunities in AI robotics. Citi, one of the major players keeping a keen eye on Nvidia, has recently adjusted their predictions, and it's all upward. But before we go any further, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates.
The internet was decentralized. It was open. There were lots of players. Prices were coming down. Well, what we have in this AI revolution is there are a few winners, right? You end up with closed systems. You've got situations where everything's costing more. And more importantly, this is going to be one of those situations where you don't have the open systems that are needed. So we need a lot more competition in AI. And hopefully that's going to change with, you saw the investment this morning where, Jeff Bezos is like backing the chip manufacturers, in Korea to actually compete against NVIDIA. Right. You're going to see more and more of the companies that are buying lots of chips from NVIDIA try to invest in alternatives because they don't want one winner or a winner-takes-all market in terms of their supplier base either.
Does that tick off NVIDIA, and do they then, as a result, stop giving as many chips to those companies that are now looking for, other competitors to go along the way? Because those big buyers have been the ones who have been able to really shepherd a lot of the chips that are coming out. They're able to pay the big bucks right now. What does that mean?
No, Becky, that's a great question. And I think the order books are out for the next 18 to 24 months. So it's about a 2-year buffer NVIDIA has, but there's also the shift, right? These companies aren't going to keep buying those data center chips at that rate. They're going to need other alternatives. And what you're going to see is, the shift to sovereign AI, countries that actually have to deliver AI at scale to their citizens, because this isn't something that any country can just pick up and do. And smaller countries and smaller companies that don't have that capital investment are going to have to build up that consolidated purchase towards AI capabilities. And then after that, we'll have to see what happens. But that's 48 months out in terms of any projections.
With a buy rating firmly in place, analysts are eager to highlight the potential for NVIDIA's profit margins to make a triumphant comeback as early as the April quarter. Imagine a phoenix rising, only this time, it's armed with GPUs instead of feathers. They've also increased their target price from $170 to $175 following a remarkable third-quarter earnings release, where NVIDIA not only met but exceeded expectations. an astounding 94% increase in revenue year over year, totaling a staggering $35.1 billion and surpassing Wall Street's estimates, has cemented Nvidia's reputation as a trailblazer. With such outstanding performance metrics, Nvidia isn't merely meeting benchmarks, they're setting new industry standards and inspiring others to follow suit. But that's not all. For those with an ear to the financial ground, whispers suggest that CES 2025 might offer more than just an address in AI robotics. Nvidia could potentially unveil updates about its RTX 50 series desktop GPUs based on the dazzling Blackwell architecture. This could send tech lovers and gamers into a frenzy akin to a kid in a candy store, with GPUs sweet enough to cause the market's appetite to skyrocket. It's no joke, Nvidia's stock has already surged 176% year-to-date, and if the buzz about CES holds any truth, this could just be the beginning. Should these projections align with reality, we're likely on the brink of a technological evolution that will secure Nvidia's dominance in the sphere of high-performance computing for generations. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
I think you have the smartest people in the world working on this problem, and they're going to find their way through it, and they're finding their way through things. There was other bottlenecks a few months ago. These are really smart folks that are working their way through things. But I think the positive surprise here is data is the new gold, is the new oil, and it's really coming into its own. We are creating data with AI. We're creating synthetic data. We're creating data from scratch, and these guys are figuring out how to feed that into models. Also, you have Elon Musk taking more and more video, revolutionizing self-driving. I think they've made a lot of advances through video, and Jim's talked a lot about that, but that's really just taken hold. I think we'll find our way through this.
And the data center is the new manufacturing hub, so to speak, for AI, as Jensen said during the conference call.
Yep.
Let's get back to Nvidia just from your projections. I mean, what are your anticipations in terms of next year's revenues, the growth rate, and therefore back into a multiple for me as to why you have where your price target is?
Next year, I have revenues growing 50%, and I think it's conservative. And then the next year, I'm at 22%. Who knows if that 22 sounds pretty light considering Jensen's track record. Our target is only 35 times our 27 estimate, which is really calendar 26. So it's a PE to growth that's still very appetizing right now for this stock. Of course, on any given day, the stock can go down. But I think given the growth that's out there for this company, and given it's a systems company, sort of like Apple is for the consumer, that's what this is for the enterprise. It's going to be bigger than people think still, with more profits as a percent of the total industry than people think still, and last longer. Just, from my experience, the vertically integrated companies that do it all, that tend to hit it right, tend to go on longer than people think.
I'm interested when you're talking about your revenue projections at 50% and then at 22%, and how NVIDIA executives are sort of walking this walk carefully, talking about growth, but you're probably not going to see 50% forever and still keep people excited. I mean, can they walk this carefully?
Well, what needs to happen at some point here is this is a cash gusher too. And NVIDIA wants to go, we're a growth company. But at some point they have to buy back more stock because there's simply nothing they can do with it. The government probably can't let them buy anybody even close to a trillion, of course. So they're going to have to do tuck-in acquisitions, and they're going to have to give stock back. I think they are going to go through, just like Apple did, that metamorphosis of more mature, hey, we have more recurring revenue. That's why they're building a software business. That's why they're going to continue to do that. And I think that they realize that. But right now they're in growth mode, and it's go, go, go. But I think, let's put some trust in Jensen and Colette that they know they have to build up those recurring revenue streams and return more cash to shareholders when appropriate. And those days are coming, and we'll see how they do. But I have confidence that this is a systems company, which makes it a little different than just a chip company who's running and gunning like some of their peers.
Right. You even you compared it to iPhone 6 era for Apple, which I'm trying to think, is that about the time services got taken seriously over there?
Well, iPhone 6 was this huge, big screen transition, and then Luca Maestri, along with
the CFO.
Then the CFO, really did a great job of saying, hey guys, this base we just built is going to have all this recurring revenue. Here's what it is, more disclosures around it, more. Now, they're not ready yet in NVIDIA, but they said last night that $2 billion in software revenue as we exit the year. Within a year or two, that number is going to be way more significant, way more tracked. But also, there's DGX Cloud. There's other things they're driving. They're driving NIMs. They're enabling the market. And these kind of things are going to get more important as we go throughout. And I think a lot of companies, especially enterprises, are not going to be able to live without these products as they adopt AI.
As the dust settles on this whirlwind of speculation and expectation, one thing is clear. NVIDIA stands at the precipice of a new dawn in tech innovation, with a consensus price target not far shy of its current performance. The prospect for these stocks, with the prediction of some soaring to $220, is nothing short of contagious. As investors weigh in, the collective sentiment leans towards a promising uptick, a reflection not only of NVIDIA's current prowess, but of its future potential. NVIDIA's secret sauce lies in its ability to blend continued innovative breakthroughs with robust financial fundamentals, creating waves of confidence across markets globally. A strong history of stellar financial performance gives NVIDIA more than a leg to stand on. It's poised to sprint forward. Are you ready to catch this wave? The company's noteworthy stature and the potential for upcoming advancements in AI and GPU technology make it more than just a stock. It's a conversation starter. Whether you're an investor with a keen eye on futures, a tech enthusiast thrilled by the whispers of what could be, or just someone who recognizes the power of technology to reshape the future, NVIDIA serves as a focal point of interest. So what do you think? With this myriad of speculation and seemingly unstoppable growth trajectory of NVIDIA, is it time to make that investment leap? Let us know where you stand on NVIDIA's horizon of possibilities. As we look to the future, we may very well be standing on the brink of a transformation that could redefine technological landscapes worldwide. And finally, if you would like to know what companies like NVIDIA have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen.